Okay, cool. An hour and 25. Let's get 2 more done. So the next sketch we have is by, let's see, Hector Silva. He's a good buddy of mine. He's actually really talented. He wanted me to redo this sketch. And I'm like, really? It looks good as it is. But I think more so, he just wanted to see it in my style. All right, so we're just gonna jump right in and do this one. I'm gonna pull it up for reference just because I'm pulling up the original design actually. So the original design is this Michael Graves pepper mill. Apparently it's $135. So I'm gonna have that up as reference, and I'll just do 2 quick views here. It's got a flare on the bottom, like so. Got the grinder on the top. Hector's style is more of a doodle style than mine. I tend to be a lot scratchier with my sketches and let the final lines come through as kind of part of the overall look, I guess you could say. All right, so we've got these kind of tabs here and sketching, and usually it takes me a minute if I'm sketching something to kind of get an understanding of the overall form and perspective. Just FYI, I think if you guys had watched me do the alpaca that I did, remember that took a few tries, and then finally I was like, okay, I've kind of got the hang of an alpaca here, so then I could be like, all right, let's go. We got this. So probably a similar thing here where it'll take me a few tries. So I'll do 1 view, maybe another view here. So Sketch A Day Live. Thanks for joining. Maybe we'll do 2 more views or something. I think after this view, I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I think after this view, I should be okay to kind of just freestyle and sketch a couple of these. Hector was more interested in my exchange. And I should say, if you want to participate in stuff like this, definitely join the Discord. It's going to give you a chance to essentially be a part of the community. I'm not always there, but they're awesome, talented people that can help answer your questions. I think the next one we had was a sub by Tom that I wanted to take a look at. Alright, I kind of have the geometry overall design here. This one's a little bit wonky. Wonky just means out of place or weird, FYI. Alright, I'm just gonna fudge a little shadow here on the page for that one. Maybe just an extended drop shadow there. And then now I can turn off my reference and just kind of draw. Because I have now on the paper anyways, a little bit to reference. Have I tried drawing in the style of Sid Mead? Not sure what you mean by that. It looks like you appended Cyberpunk to that comment. Yeah, I love his contributions to concept art and futurism and just dreaming about the future in general. I think as far as the style goes, if you mean like drawing with gray marker and doing that kind of thing, yeah, I've done that before, certainly. So I'm just trying a different perspective here. It feels off, like this ellipse should be more this shape, like so. But yeah, I certainly appreciate his contributions and what he did. I was heavily influenced by Feng Zhu, which I believe, or who I believe was likely influenced by Sid Mead as well. Carl is asking, can you tell us a bit about your first job as a designer? Sure. I'll start with my internship. So I was a sophomore at the time, meaning a second year student. And my first internship was with a company called Astro Studios. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. So they are a firm in San Francisco. And at the time, I suppose it's debatable now, but at the time they were like top of the top. You know, like if you got an internship at Astro Studios, it was a big deal. Still love them and everything they do, but I was lucky. I was walking through the hallway at school one day, and my professor at the time was like, "Hey, do you have a portfolio ready?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually I do." And typically sophomores at the school I was at, they didn't really carry or have portfolios ready to send to a job interviewer. I just kind of did. I was lucky, or prepared rather. And so I send this portfolio to Astro and I get a response like, "Hey, yeah, we'd love to have you. This is just a filler internship position." So I wasn't even a real intern. It was just like, "Yeah, we got 6 weeks. We don't have an employee right now to fill that spot. So if you want to, come hang out. Let's do it," basically. So I was like, okay. So I go and take that internship, and it was awesome. Like it felt surreal again because I was a sophomore at the time, and at my school, sophomores didn't really get or go on internships. Every school is different, of course. So I go on this internship, and they're like, "Well, actually, we don't have a desk for you. This desk is for the other interns from, I think one was from Columbia College of Art and Design, and the other was from Art Center." And I didn't go to a fancy school or anything, so I was already feeling like, oh man, you know, slow your roll, chill out. This is your thing. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So they seat me at the conference table, basically, in the studio. And that was my spot. That's where I worked. That's where I did everything. And for 6 weeks, I didn't have a desk. Like I wasn't like the rest of everyone. So anyhow, not that I was complaining. I mean, I wanted to be recognized as, you know, being worthwhile, worthy, whatever, but sometimes you take what you can get, and that was one of those times. And so I decided to just kind of dig in and make sure that whatever I was doing, I would do my best at. So whether it was sketching or it was getting the bagels, which was kind of my responsibility for a bit, we'd have these meetings, and it was my job to kind of get these bagels for everyone, take their order, and get that done. The story will all make sense in the end. But that's what I did. You know, I took that opportunity, didn't complain, just got it done. And at the same time, I knew my internship, or the time for my internship, was coming to a close. So I started applying for other places. And so I applied to Target, and they have a really good internship program if anyone's ever done it. But I applied to Target and then a few other places. And so I come back to the team at Astro, and I'm like, "Look, hey, I have a few offers here. And I think I'm going to go to Target." And they're like, "Why are you leaving?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you know, this thing was supposed to be for 6 weeks, so I figured." And they're like, "No, you can stay." So they were so impressed with me just being willing to dig in again, sit at the conference table, chill, be willing to learn, be adaptable. That they're like, you can stay as long as you want. And at the end of the internship, I even thought about staying for another few months. That's how much, they liked me. And to this day, I'm still friends with many of the people that I got to know during that time. It was an experience that changed my life, and one that I'll always be grateful for, because it forced me to just kind of be a bit humble and know my place, and it was a good reminder to just work hard, and whatever opportunity you have, just make the most of it. And from that, after that internship, I actually went on, the next year I went to General Motors. That's what I did. I turned down a bunch of internship offers, actually, from different companies. Ended up at General Motors because I wanted something different. I wasn't a traditionally trained car designer, industrial designer, who could draw, but I was like, yeah, let's just, see what this is like. Go from there. So I did that, and then I just realized, cars aren't my thing. I like to draw them, but they're really not like my passion. I love products. I love solving problems. I do love drawing, but I just knew that designing cars full-time, day in, day out was not the thing I wanted to do. So I walked away from that one, and then actually ended up working at Astro Studios after I graduated, and I got that job in 2007. And some of you know what happened in 2008. Kind of similar, actually, to right now, where we had the housing crisis. I wasn't even aware of what was happening, just on a large scale. I mean, I was just, living in my own little world and content with designing, and then it just all hit, the real estate crisis and financial crisis of 2008. So that happened, and I quickly found myself without a job. Man, I'm telling my whole story here, so hopefully this is what you guys are after. But I quickly found myself without a job. I was furloughed, and my business partner at the time and we decided to start our own company. So with the limited experience I had, or not my business partner, but my best friend, who became my business partner, but with the limited experience I had, we then started a company called Studio T-. Did that for a while, and was pretty successful at it. I mean, I was making really good money. It was a lot of work, but we did it, and pretty quickly found myself bumping up on the limitations of experience. And so we decided to part ways, not, in any negative sense, but just recognizing and realizing, hey, we both need to grow. It was like a healthy breakup, you could say, where we just kind of went our own way. And so I ended up working with a startup that I had previously done work with, Connection. Got on board there. They got acquired by a company here in Utah. And so then I transitioned to kind of designing and working in the smart home space. Did that for a bit. Ended up doing apps, experiences, traditional industrial design, built trade show booths, just a lot of diverse and good experience. Learned how businesses work and how to kind of navigate that world. So that was pretty fantastic in terms of experience, and learned pretty quickly that I like working for myself. I like doing my own thing. So last year I then moved on from that experience, and I've been doing Sketch-A-Day and consulting since then. So I've done illustration work for people. I've done design work. I've done outdoor spaces, architecture, illustration, product design. So like I said, I don't like to think of myself as one thing per se, but rather, okay, I'm a creative and I can facilitate a bunch of outcomes depending on the requirements or need of the client. But I don't like industrial design as a kind of catch-all expression of what I do, because I do a lot more than that. So that's my story in a nutshell. And I could probably go in more depth, you know, if I did an episode or I was interviewed by someone or something, but here's my version of Hector's sketch. A little sketchier, looser. Like I said, he's got more of a doodle style. Oops. He's got more of a doodle style, as you can see. And here is my version right there. So not perfect, but I'll call it finished. We'll sign it and call it good. All right, on to the next